Chappell Roan canceled an appearance at a festival over this weekend, and the girlies on TikTok are not handling it well. On an Instagram stories, Chapell said, "I apologize to people who have been waiting to see me in New York City and DC this weekend at All Things Go, but I am unable to perform. Things have gotten overwhelming over the past few weeks, and I really am feeling it. I feel pressures to prioritize a lot of things right now, and I need to take a few days to prioritize my health. I want to be present when I perform and give the best shows possible. Thank you for understanding. Be back soon, XOX. The overwhelming stuff she was talking about is people disagreeing with her political opinions online. And boy, haven't we all been there. So I want to go through all the political opinions that she's put out over the last week or so and just give some of my thoughts on them. It all started on September 21st when a quote from an interview with Chappell Roan went viral on Twitter. "I have so many issues with our government in every way," she says. "There are so many things that I would want to change. So I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides. I encourage people to use your critical thinking skills, use your vote. Vote small. Vote for what's going on in your city." The change she wants to see in the US in this election year, she says instantly, is trans rights. We cannot have cis people making decisions for trans people. Period. I'll start by saying, I don't think she should have to endorse anyone if she doesn't want to. The caveat to that is that I think you should have a pretty good reason as to why, especially if you're a big figure. And a pretty good reason could be, hey, I just don't know enough about what's going on right now. I'm not well read up enough on politics as it exists. You know, celebrities, believe it or not, are actually kind of busy people most of the time. But Chapell didn't say that. She said there's problems on both sides. There's a lot of things that I would like to change. Now, I can find some agreement with that. It depends on what you mean by problems on both sides. We'll get into that later on in the video, I promise. But this is where I need to point something out. It's the tweet that went viral doesn't include that full quote that I read earlier. It cuts off the part where she says, use your vote. Vote small. Use your critical thinking skills. Vote for what's going on in your city. Which is base. You can affect way more change with a single vote on a local level than you ever will on a national level. But that part got left out. So everyone on Twitter basically called her a filthy fence sitter. So Chapell grabbed her shovel, dug herself a little bit of a deeper hole, and took to TikTok to explain herself further. Now, this TikTok doesn't really expound on anything. Really, she is just verbatim reading the quote from the interview that wasn't included in the full headline of the tweet. She does, at the end of the TikTok, say explicitly, "I am not voting for Trump." But I think for most people, it's undercut by the fact that earlier in the TikTok she said, again, both sides have problems. And again, just based off of those words right there, I don't necessarily disagree with that statement. It's gonna depend on what she means by both sides have problems. However, most people on the internet are a lot angrier than me, and they continued berating Chappell Roan for having this opinion. So she took to TikTok one more time after a nice restful night of sleep and post this.
I just woke up, and to like people just skewing it even more.
Go back to sleep.
Endorsing and voting are completely different. I don't agree with a lot of what is going on with, like, policies.
Chapell, this is your last chance. You don't have to respond to this anymore. You could just not respond and let this whole thing blow over. I think your interview and your TikTok have done well enough to explain yourself. You don't need to say anything else.
Obviously, fuck the policies of the right, but also fuck some of the policies on the left. That's why I can't endorse. That's why I can't, like, put my entire name and my entire project behind one. Because there is no way I can stand behind some of the left's completely transphobic and completely genocidal views.
All right, and that chance went fully out of the window. And this is what she means by both sides. Now, as someone with a platform as big as Chapell's, especially one that has blown up in recent weeks and months, I would have hoped that she would have taken more time to construct a well-thought-out response to all of the stress that she's feeling at the moment. But she didn't. Such is life. Part of a well-thought-out response would be evidence for some of the stuff that you say in that response. But let's take these things one by one. First, talking about transphobic views, I actually do not know what she's talking about. Now, I'm sure she does, and I'm sure somebody in the comments will enlighten me. However, what is missing from this video is any evidence to back up what the fuck she is saying. She is someone with a large platform. She is someone with a large platform of LGBTQ plus peoples. She is someone with a large platform of young, impressionable LGBTQ plus peoples. And she just said, without any evidence, that the Democratic Party is transphobic, or holds transphobic views. I don't think that's a good thing. I'm sure she's got something in mind. She could have taken more time to think about what the fuck she was going to say. There's nothing saying that you need to make this video as soon as you woke up. And everyone knows about the second part, the claims of genocide. The first thing that I want to say is that when you say that the Democrats hold genocidal views, what you're implying is that there is no difference between the policies of the Democrats and the policies of the Republicans, specifically in terms of how they're going to handle the Israel-Palestine situation. My only response to that is, let Trump win the presidency.
Hamas. Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
Let more Republicans win House and Senate seats, and we'll see what the fuck happens. We'll see if situation gets any worse. Genocide is a specific term with a specific meaning. One of the characteristics of genocide is that it doesn't really get much fucking worse than a genocide, and I just feel like it probably will get a little bit worse if Trump is president. This is all just to say that she is making really strong claims here. Very strong claims, and I don't believe that she had to make these strong claims to make her point. But she woke up, was a little bit bent out of shape, made this, and now here we are. And we're not done with the TikTok, so let's keep going.
So yeah, there are huge problems on both. You know what is right and wrong, and so do I.
Very minor nitpick here, but you don't know what people think are right and wrong. You don't know if they know what right and wrong are. In fact, right and wrong are very nebulous concepts.
So no, I'm not gonna settle for what the options that are in front of me. And you're not gonna make me feel bad for that.
Now listen, I don't think that you should feel bad, but we gotta come to grips. On the day that you vote, you probably are going to be settling. That's just kind of baked in. What you're banking on is that Kamala wins and then you can continue to push her after the fact. Your only other options that aren't settling are voting Republican, voting third party, or not voting at all.
Voting is all we have right now in the system. And so I encourage it, yet again, vote for who in your mind is the best option for what we have right now.
In other words, she's telling you to settle.
Yes, one's obviously better than the other. But Jesus fucking Christ, I hope you don't settle for what we have and put your name behind someone that you don't fully trust because of their blatant actions.
And here we come back at the end to the very reasonable position of she doesn't want to put her name behind everything having to do with the Harris candidacy. Because if a celebrity has a right to do anything, it's to choose what political figures they endorse. In closing, she really should have just stuck with the original quote and the first TikTok. That's all she needed to make. She let the trolls get to her, and because of that she made an ill-advised video, and now she's missing out on revenue. She's missing out on that New York music festival. Or if she felt the absolute need to make a statement on this, work with some PR manager, put some actual backing behind some of the stronger statements that you made. But regardless of any of that and the stuff that she didn't do, she's gonna come out of this totally fine. I give it about a month tops before she's back out performing in shows, and this actually feels like a memory in the rearview mirror. That's just the way that the news cycle goes these days. People don't care about the shit that other people say for too long.